so much, Doctor. And very interesting to understand the whole vibrational theory of everything. And I wanted to ask you a question, start it off by asking you that when we do these homas and havans, so there is some amount of nature that we put into the fire, and there is some amount of chanting that we do. All right. But the chanting is done by the priest, usually, and we just say a couple of words. Is that okay? Or, I mean, is there need for us to actually chant the whole thing? Or how does it work?
Yeah, thanks, Beena, for that. Actually, the Homa itself, like for example, Navaratri is coming around the corner, right? So that Homa Kunda, that Homa altar is sacred geometry. If it could be in the shape of a turtle, it could be in the shape of a Garuda, an eagle. It could even the ratio of the bricks to the height, to the radius and the sides. You know, it is incredible sacred geometry, and there is a whole science in the Vedic tradition which talks about that. So sacred geometry is definitely there. The chants, of course, the priests are chanting. It is not necessary for you to really chant everything. Even in this course, we actually have got very, very senior adepts who actually have recorded the chant for us, because there is a lot of science in the way you chant Sanskrit. Yeah, not everybody can do it, but listening to it is the same thing. During Navaratri, we go and sit in these homas. What happens? The chants are going on. 1008 plant parts are thrown in, ranging from flowers to grains to fruits to stems and roots and bark. Everything goes into the fire. It is that union of the geometry, the sound, and the plants. That is what creates that experience during Navaratri. And that is exactly what you get from the Mandala Vatika.
Okay. All right. Thank you. There are a couple of questions here. One, somebody is asking, Krishnapani ji is asking, and that's our program director, by the way. He says, excellent talk, a very fascinating subject. Are you conducting a full course on Mandala Vatika, and how can we attend it?
Okay, what I will do is I will just put out my WhatsApp number, and you could ping me on this number and I will give you the details. Actually, there is a Mandala Vatika, a Durga Mandala Vatika that is happening. It starts, there are two 4-day workshops, 2 hours each. And one is happening from Sunday, that's 4th to the 7th. And that is in the afternoon, 2:30 to 4:30. And then from the 7th to 11th of October, there is one that happens from 8:30 to 10:30 at night. So you could ping me on this number that I have. Oh, is it there on the chat what I have pinged? Or
if you can actually share it with us, and we can put it on, we can actually put it in our WhatsApp group. So
let me just share it with you, Beena.
Sure.
And then you could, for those who are interested, you could definitely,
yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, sure. Okay, so I've got it.
Access some methodology to bring this Mandala Vatika to our home. This is the whole point. This Mandala Vatika, you don't need a garden. You don't need a huge garden for this. You can do it on your tabletop sitting at home. So what you do is, there is geometry which you draw on an A3 size piece of paper, which itself is an incredibly meditative experience, especially when you're drawing something as potent as a mandala of Durga. And then you take the 9 flowers. There's a Pushpa Puja which goes on. Then you take the 9 flowers and you have to place them in very specific points in that mandala. You can't just plant them anywhere. Even in the garden which you'll do, if there is a garden that's made outside, every tree or every plant has a specific position. So in that mandala drawing, you will place these flowers in very specific positions along with a mantra. So a mantra audio is played, and then you do the invocation to that flower and you place it there, and then there is a guided meditation that happens. So the idea of this Mandala Vatika is that yes, you can actually make it as a garden, in a park or in a in a field or whatever, but you can also do this inside the confines of your home. And that's really, I think, the beautiful part about this. So in my video you saw there was a white handkerchief, sort of a cloth with some lines on it, and there were people were offering some flowers. That is actually the tradition of Mandala Vatika. In all our homes we had a Tulsi Mandala Vatika. In the center of the courtyard you would have a Tulsi, and then around the Tulsi we used to draw the sacred geometry. Today it is called the Rangoli. It's called the Rangoli. We've forgotten what the sacred geometry originally meant. So the Rangoli was drawn, and a Tulsi mantra was chanted. So the geometry, the plant, and the mantra, that was Mandala Vatika. So today the remnant of Mandala Vatika is actually the Rangoli that we draw. It's just an aesthetic thing, but really it is the derivative of this Mandala Vatika science, and it all comes from the Sri Chakra tradition. How many types of Mandala Vatikas are there? Is it related to gods? Basically, how do we define these mandalas? So, like anything in our Vedas, it's very, very rigid science. So, what they've done is, for every wave frequency that was used in creation, we can call it Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Parvati, Saraswati, whatever, names are not important. But they go straight to a wave function which would have created. Yeah. For example, if you Google something called the Unreal Engine, which is a software, cutting edge software that's used to develop virtual reality game environment. Yeah. It's so real that you would think that it's as good as real, because you are in that game and you're jumping all over those mountains and whatever and doing whatever you have to. It's so real. But if you see that Unreal Engine, it is based on just tessellations of triangles. It's a very simple equation. It's fractal geometry. So even if the creator had to create this rich tapestry of our universe, he would have used fractals to do that. So Mandala Vatika straight goes into that. It goes into taking those fractals. So which are the wave functions which will create the fractals? Okay. So if you want to create chaos, there is a fractal which you will use for creating that. It's called a bifurcation drawing. It's called, and if you see, it's a subset of the Mandelbrot fractal. So they actually go and create that. So there must have been many, many Mandala Vatikas, but as I could see at the Indische Bibliothek in the University of Heidelberg, I thought I saw at least maybe around 40 of them. And some of them were very elaborate, some of them were incomplete, some of them were half destroyed. So whatever, I could find, I took that. And Durga was one of my special favorites. So I thought during this Navaratri, I'd actually, unveil the Durga Mandala Vatika. Yeah. But the whole idea of this talk is basically to create awareness that there is such a science, and, we need to revive this, otherwise we lose it. At one time we had 108 Vedas, now we've just left with 4. Yeah. So, we must revive these things, otherwise, we lose them forever, because it's such a beautiful understanding of wave functions, which we call tattvas in our Vedic tradition, and how creation happens. This Mandala Vatika is all about how creation happens.
One more question, Doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. The question for you was, you talked about specific flowers. Now, I mean, evolution happens. Now, we talked about flowers that may have been prescribed 5,000 years ago. And are they still available, readily available? What is the situation on something on the nature 5,000 years back and presently?
Yes. So in our Vedic tradition, we call these Vahanas. Okay. Like, we are more familiar with the Vahanas from the animal kingdom. Like, Vinayaka would have a mouse, and, Shiva would have a bull and whatever. So we are more familiar with that because that's what we see in temple carvings and things like that. But in the Rig Veda, there is an entire science of how plants are vahanas also for these gods and goddesses to manifest themselves in the world. Yeah. So that means, what are they saying? If that wave function had to manifest itself in creation, it requires something it has created, which is a plant. It uses that. So it's something like, if I am a fan of 104.8 FM, how does that song come to me? There is a constant wave, a bandwidth that band is always there. That 104.8 FM wave is always there. That is what they call a vahana. On that wave, packets of sound will be sent as audio bytes, which will come to my ear through my radio. So that underlying wave on which packets of information can come, that is called a vahana. So in the Vedic tradition, plants are considered to be vahanas. And every deity will have specific plants. Now, why am I choosing these mandala vatikas? Because these plants are still available. Yeah, we have the plants of these. So we can explore these mandala vatikas. Luckily for us, these are all auspicious plants. So in our quest for development, we have not got rid of these yet. So that's a good thing, because in the Vedic tradition, it says if the vahana is lost, let's suppose one particular plant which is very sacred to a wave function is gone from this universe, that wave function will not be able to manifest itself. That is the understanding of the connection between plants, animals. See, for them, everything was interconnected. So us preserving these plants, it's not a favor we are doing for ourselves. If they are not there, then many things will not happen in this universe the way it is meant to happen. So
Right.
it's yeah. So I hope I've answered that for you.
Yes, yes. So obviously these 7 plants that you're talking about are still available.
Nine.
Nine.
For the Durga Mandala, it is 9. In
9.
the Bengali tradition, they've got something called the Nabapatra,
Yes.
Nabapatra Puja.
Yes, yes.
That, yeah. So there, the plant itself is the Durga. It's a different thing. But we have gone to the, see, there the Bengali traditions is more on the tantric thing. We don't go into that. We go into the Vedic, the purest Vedic tradition, and there the 9, it is called the Pushpa Puja. It is called the Durga Pushpa Puja. It's very, very beautifully recorded, and we have this incredible person called Shankar Brahmadesam, who has done tremendous research, and he has done the chant as it is to be done, in the original meter and the enunciation and all that. So those 9 definitely there.
There's one question here. Can we relate this or any other mandala type with Guru Mandala?
Oh yes, absolutely. See, unless there is a Guru Tattva in operation, Guru Tattva is like that wave I said, no, for FM 104.8, no, that way. See, Guru Tattva is actually that wave function on which knowledge comes to us. Yeah. See, this course, could I have done this course all by myself? Obviously not, because it has to ride that wave or the tattva of a guru. It's only on a guru's wave. It doesn't matter whether the guru is a physical form or not, but it is that guru tattva only which can bring this knowledge to us. So it's very, very important. So is there a Guru Mandala? There is a Guru Mandala. There is a Guru Mandala. There is a Rudra Mandala. So there is a Guru Mandala, and it is a specific mandala. But unfortunately, I don't have the full documentation on that. But I do know that there is a Guru Mandala. I don't have the documentation on it. But one thing is sure. Unless and until you have that Guru Tattva operating, you will not be able to experience this knowledge.
Okay. Doctor, it seems like a lot of people want to know about your course. So if you can send me all the details of the dates and timings and the information,
I will definitely do that.
I will post it on our group so that everybody has that information. So thank you so much. I mean, it's been, oh, there's still one more question.
Let me answer that. It's interesting
Yes.
question that 21, the Patra Pujas, of the Siddhivinayaka. When we did this in July, Siddhivinayaka,
Right.
do you know that although it is the Sanskrit is 21, yeah, Ekavamshati, the name is there. There are only 20 plants. It's very strange. You start chanting the mantra and doing the offerings one by one by one. It will come to 20, but there is no 21st plant. Although the mantra says that it is 21. Yeah. So we went into the root of this, and that actually is, it's a worm actually, because you are expecting to put a plant. There is no plant. In that one moment, your mind goes blank. In that moment, something happens. It's a very, very interesting science. But yes, we did this 21. Yeah, we did this 21. The Patra Puja, we did this as a part of the Siddhivinayaka Mandala. Yeah. Thank you so much, Beena. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
That is really so interesting. My gosh. Okay. We thank you so much, Dr. Rao, and we hope to have you again on our platform soon, because this was very, very interesting. And maybe we can talk to you about fields or something like that again.
Yes, we'll do that.
That'll be amazing.
You, Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Prem,
and may I request Prem, our IT and marketing director, to please propose the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Binaji, and thank you, Dr. Prabhakar, for this exciting talk. You really got us all interested and excited about this ancient Vedic culture that we already have with us, and kindling the details of getting us all interested to take this up. So we would be interested to look at your courses that you offer, and we'll post it in a group and benefit all the participants. So thank you very much. And on behalf of Tambara, really appreciate for your time to conduct this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A small announcement on upcoming programs. On Sunday, 4th October, we have a yoga program by Umesh Dagatji starting at 7 a.m. It's based on boosting your immunity. And then upcoming Friday, 9th October, we have Sri Krishnapani K.C. Raju speaking on the S model, the yoga of transcendence. And please block your dates for these upcoming webinars. We will be taking a break on the 6th, Tuesday, which is Tuesday. So please bear with us. We'll be back very soon. So be with us on the 4th and on the 9th. And we look forward to your presence every week on Tuesdays and Fridays, where we bring to you interesting topics on holistic wellness delivered by a host of knowledgeable speakers. Thank you once again for being with us. And thank you, Doctor, for all the good takeaways we have today. And with that, we conclude today's session. Namaste and good night. Thank you.